What's up, you guys? It's the Love and Pain Show, where the Love Doctor and I talk about love, relationships, and everything in between. I'm your resident single lady advisor, Pain, who is an experienced single lady on a quest for balance. And this is Chuck. Take it away, Chuck, the Love Doctor.
What's happening, y'all? All right. I just want to give a special shout out to all the fathers out there. Yesterday was Father's Day. And a lot of times, especially as Black men, we don't get a lot of acknowledgement for being, great fathers. I know a lot of great fathers out there. Of course, there are a lot of, people that don't take care of their business, but there's a lot that do. And a lot of times when it comes to that, it's like, it's the type of relationship that you may have had with that person. They may be, a great father to somebody else, but because they're not a great father because of the relationship that you guys have. And I don't really like that, because it's your kid, so you should be, no matter who the baby's mom is, you should always treat your children with love as much as, that they will allow you to do. But, I just want to give a shout out to all the dads. And then I just want to also to my father in particular. He's the person that taught me how to be a man, that I've learned from. And he didn't actually directly tell me. I mean, he did give me some advice, but just by me watching there. And what fathers do, they give you balance. You could just observe and learn from their mistakes. You know what I'm saying? I've seen the mistakes that my father made. And that more than anything is what I learned from, but he was the person that just showed me what a functional man how a functional man should act. He was responsible. He always worked and things like that. And then I seen his downfall too. When we got into, the late 80s, he was addicted to crack, which a lot of fathers were. And I seen him fall from grace, but he's the one that always told me never do drugs. And I never did. That was my choice. And I didn't. And like I said, if I hadn't known my father, I would not have known like part of myself. What fathers do is bring you balance to your life. You know what I'm saying? Mothers are more nurturing normally, but then fathers bring you that other type of discipline and just give you a balance to your life. And also you know more about yourself by knowing both parents. If I only knew my mom's side of the family, I would like, and I didn't have all my uncles and my dad, I wouldn't know the first clue about being a man. I would have had to figure all these things out. But just by seeing him, seeing how he functioned, seeing how he handled difficulty, I learned everything about being a man from my father. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I tried to be like him, when I was younger, especially like I said, with my first marriage, I always reference that. But, I learned from his mistake. Like I said, at the end of the day, he had all these side chicks and all that. They didn't love him. You know what I'm saying? At his funeral, I ain't seen none of them at the funeral. So, these are type of life learned lessons that I learned from my father. I just want to acknowledge all the fathers out there and just give, mad respect to my father. And like I said, at 18 years old, he was valedictorian of his high school. Instead of him going to college, he went to the Army because I was on the way. He had me at 18 years old and my mom was 17. And he just, he could have went to any college in the country, but he decided to go to the Air Force to take care of his son. So I, mad respect, and I love, my dad. That was my dog, man, for real. All the hurts and pains, that was my boy. So I just want to give a shout out.
Oh, that's so nice. I mean, and it is for Father's Day. So again, Chuck is always one to make me look like an asshole because he gets on here and talks about his family and loves them so much. I'm just like, what the hell, man? We didn't talk about we was giving shout outs like this. You went first, and now I look like a jerk.
No, it's all, I mean, listen, we don't choose what situation we're born into. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people that I grew up with, they envied the fact that me and how close me and my dad was. You know what I'm saying? So, if I was born in their situation, you just can't control who your parents are or your family.
That is true. You cannot pick your family. So that kind of brings me to my point, which is I was in a situation where, and I praised my mom for Mother's Day, and she's amazing. But I also definitely have to give props to my stepdad, who stepped up. He stepped up, and he repeatedly has showed me what it is to have a good male role model in your life. Um, he has given me that balance, as you say, and I appreciate that. It makes you more well-rounded. You see things from a more logical situation. So to him, he doesn't feel like he's done much, but he's done a whole lot, and I really appreciate him. I love him. That's my dad. That's why I call him. And I remember one time, and I took him for granted because it's just like I want my real dad, my real dad. So you
But
take
that's
him for
natural,
granted.
though. That's
Exactly,
natural for a
right? You
kid.
naturally want it, and
Right.
like he never made it. He never talked bad about my dad. My mom never, talked bad about my dad. But I remember one time I had, I don't know if I used to have a stripper pole in my house,
Oh,
like a little.
I seen it. I
You
seen
remember
it.
my stripper pole,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I
I
used to
remember
love
that.
my stripper pole, but before it's like the pole is like 8 feet. It's really high. It's hard to lift. Like it is just not like easy at the time for me. And now I lift weights. I can do it. And I'm like, man, I really want this. And it was winter time. And he had worked a long day. I remember he worked a long day. He worked out on the south end of Columbus. And I lived out in the suburbs because I'm bougie. And I was like, man, I just really wish I could get my pole put up. I try to put it up. Most people aren't gonna come after work after a long day. And he moved things for a living. But he drove all the way from the south end to the north. It was like a 30-minute drive. And it was ice. So it was even worse just to come up there because I really wanted it so bad. He set it up. All right, love you, and left. And it's just like I sat there, and that's where it finally clicked, like, oh shit. Like this man always come through for me. He always he teaches dependency. He's dependable. Like I love that man. And I'm glad that my mom picked him, and I'm glad that he actually is. Some would say a last of a dying breed, but he definitely set standards really high. So happy Father's Day, Mr. Bernie, wherever you are. I think you're here someplace, but I love you, man.
Oh, that's cool. And one more thing I want to say too is like one of the big things too, like as far as when I stayed with my mom and versus staying with my dad, my mom's house was more based on emotion. My dad's house was more based on logic. You know what I'm saying? But the balance that I needed between the two, like when I lived with my dad, you know what I'm saying? Like my gear was whack. You know what I'm saying? Like I wasn't up to date on all my stuff. You know what I'm saying? And when I went back to my mom's house, the first thing she noticed, like, what boy, jump in that shower, and she just got me together. Like it was things that I didn't have that I needed. You need that balance in your life between both parents, man. You know what I'm saying? My mom got me together, and she got to make sure I went to school looking like I was supposed to. Because over my dad, I was dressing myself in like elementary and middle school. So you know what I'm saying? So
same.
Yeah, I needed both parents. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just glad that I just got to see that, and it just helped me in my development.
Yeah, it does. It makes you understand, like when you I wouldn't say my mom was like, I think now she's more in her emotional, but when I was growing up and my biological wasn't there, I don't think she could really be like settling that mom nurturing yes role. She had to be mom, and she had to play that figure, so she was more disciplinarian versus more emotional.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sometimes like that.
Yeah. So like it was like my mom was quick to say no before she said yes. But like when Mr. Bernie came along, it was just like, okay,
right.
You could be cool. I get it. All right,
Right. But that's cool. Yeah, but no, just I know it is. We like to say we're talking about fathers, but it's funny because the dynamic between my mom and my dad was the emotional one. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he was the one that I'm saying, like if something happened, I'm saying, hey, but that's what I'm saying. That's why I say you need that man in the seat, because your perception of what a man is if you don't know what a real man is, then you'll never see. It's okay to show some emotions and show that you care and things like that. You know what I'm saying? But he also gave me responsibility when I was a kid. Like I always had a job. Like I said, when I was younger, I had a paper route. I Coke at the Ohio State game when I was like 9 years old. I cut the grass all the time. It was just responsibility. He'll leave me home by myself. Those are things that my mom would have never done. Well, she actually, but it was just it was just a two different thing. But sorry, I had to go on. But yeah, we're talking about.
No, you're right. I love. We need a show where we talk about fathers. I think I don't think that necessarily men get the shady end of the stick. I just think that the people who did not have good experiences with fathers tend to be the loudest. And unfortunately, like you can look at the stats and be like, well, most Black people are raised in fatherless homes or whatever may be the case. But I think that people pay attention more so to the negatives by all means, and they listen to that. And we don't really get the good stories about the dad. So when I had a blog some couple years ago, again, I grew up, my biological dad wasn't the greatest dad. I had a skewed view of dads. And then I grew up and I met other dads who were like actually really good dads. And I was like, oh shit, y'all exist. My bad. So I think a lot of times also you gotta get out your circle. If you have nothing but hood cousins and ghetto cousins and they come from a certain demographic, then you might see more of a broken home versus where I went to other Black people and they didn't have that same thing. So I think we have to talk more about that and share that view,
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Okay. How you doing today, Chuck?
I'm doing all right. How you doing?
I can't complain. I took me a little nap. I'll be getting up early too. So and when I get off, like those 10-hour days be kicking my ass.
I heard that.
I gotta get napping. What did you do? Did you get anything into anything fun this weekend?
Yeah, I went to the movies, checked out the fights. Shoot, I had a nice little weekend. So I ain't got no complaints. I'm enjoying myself.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And the fight was good. Who
fought? It was a great fight. Oh yeah, Tank Davis and Frank Martin. It was a really good fight. Tank Davis just showed why he he's his best fighter pound for pound. So that was a great fight to see.
Okay, that's good. Well, I had an event. I worked with this lady. She was a lot. It was a lot. And it was hot. And we were like outside. And, sometimes we do millionaire events with these millionaires. And we go to their houses. And they're so nice. They're so big and everything. But, they have all these people. But they're cheap. Like a lot of millionaires, that's how they make their money. They're cheap. So they skimp on. Like that was an event where I could have used probably about 2 to 3 other hands on it. But she's like, no, we only need 1 or 2. And it was a lot. It was exhausting. The good thing is though, I keep all the money and people are understanding like, hey, we need more people. But it was a cool event. Father's Day, had a good event, worked a little bit, spent time with my dad at the cookout. So this weekend it just went by fast. I'm tired. I need a break. I need a break, man.
I heard that.
So what about the news? What you got going on in the news?
Okay. Well, the main thing this week, I just have one thing that I want to show you, and we're going to get into this real quick. Let's go. Let me share my screen.
Oh, yeah.
Here we go. All right. Right here. All right. Okay. So in this situation, okay, how Chris Brown's have been known to be giving the the sessions where you could take pictures with him on all that for a price. And on this one, the woman says her boyfriend broke up after her meet and greet picture went viral. Her boyfriend did not allow her to she put the picture on her mantle, and her boyfriend had an issue with that. And listen, man, like, that groupie stuff, man, that stuff don't fly with me. You know what I'm saying? If we together, I know that might be your favorite star or whatever the case may be, but okay, you took the picture with him, but I got to come in and see it every day. Like, what's going on with that? Like, I don't know.
I do agree. I think it's a bit much, no matter. I think it'd be a bit much to put that on your mantle. Like if you have that at work or like in your little personal area, that's fine. For him to break up over this picture, it kind of shocks me because on one hand, we're saying that women in divorces more than men, but men actually in relationships more than women. So I feel like this is not a break-upable offense. This is a, babe, what the hell? And like, we have a conversation about this. I don't, it doesn't look like the best pose, but it's not like she's going to run off with Chris Brown and run into the sunset. She's taking a picture of a guy she'll never probably see ever again. And then she had to pay to take the picture. He ain't checking for her like that. It's like if when Janet Jackson did that concert, and she brought all dude on stage, and she was freaking him up. Remember, she climbed him like a little tree, like she was a little gremlin, and he was just living the time of his little sweaty life. He was just all juicy, acne just popping, and she was all over him. It's a fantasy. You're selling a fantasy.
Right. I mean, I get it. I mean, like I said, they're in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. So really, I mean, how deep is the relationship anyway? You know what I'm saying? But as a married person, I wish my wife would be taking some picture like that with Chris Brown. Please. Like I said, it's all about respect. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we together, then we gonna take this picture together. If you need a picture like that with somebody, then it should be with me. You know, I don't play that little no, we don't play these type of games, dog. No. But if this is a boyfriend girlfriend thing, and it probably ain't gonna last anyway, you don't know how deep it was. He might have been arguing, whatever. But that's disrespectful if you have somebody that you love at the crib. I don't care what, I don't care. It don't matter. You know, that's disrespectful. Y'all, you know, that's your fantasy. Like, I mean, you know, your fantasies and can't mess up what your reality is. Now, in your reality, okay, she's cute, but you ain't, you know, Chris Brown might hit it, but that's as far as it goes. But in reality, the man that you have at the crib is what you got. That's what's real. This Chris Brown stuff, that's a fantasy. So why would I prioritize that over what I have that's real at the crib? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a respect thing for me. That's all I'm saying.
I get like I don't think that's a horrible point of view. These, you know, people need to have more of these conversations before they get married. Like, babe, if I ever meet Drake, all right, I'm gonna lose my shit. Like, what am I allowed to do? You know, can I take this kind of picture? Like, this is what I'm gonna do. You know, if I pay, like, these are the kind, and people hate hypotheticals, and I don't hate hypotheticals because they would have avoided a situation like this. Because if I know what to expect beforehand, right, I know that, okay, if I go hug Chris Brown like this, even though I feel the way that I feel, it's a good chance my man feels this way. And it's probably not going to be, it's not going to go that long. It's not going to last. So I'm about to break up with my boyfriend because this is more valuable. But this also lets me know, like, she wasn't really feeling her dude like that.
Yeah, it was disrespectful.
You know, if you have to be aware of your people's feelings, even though if you don't agree with it. Like, sometimes there's guys who love to like women's pictures on the internet, but their wives or girlfriends feel some type of way, and they don't. They'll look, but they never like. That's a sign of respect. You know, I feel like it's a bit much, but it goes to whatever the barometers are of your relationship. So yeah, I can agree. She, you know, I feel like he overreacted, but I get it. I get it. Boundaries are boundaries, and you have them for a reason, you know?
Right. And remember, I keep telling y'all, the male ego is very fragile. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, if you plan on having a man for a long period of time, you have to understand this. You know, a man wants to feel like he's the king and he's so powerful and everything. And that's how you should send him, you know, when he leaves you. Don't break him down, man. And you putting other men in his face and complimenting other guys and things like that, because the male ego is very fragile, man. And you can lose your man if he doesn't feel somewhere that's secure and that he feels powerful. You know what I'm saying? You know, so did you know, do little things, you know what I'm saying? When you know, when you first meet a guy, you know, let him get the remote, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. Just little stuff. You know what I'm saying? Bring him a little plate or something. Just something to entice his ego, to make him feel that he's valuable. But things like this, you bringing Chris Brown in there, you mean to tell me I got to do all this work with you? I'm taking you out on dates and all this stuff, and then some dude that ain't did nothing for you but entertain you can just come by and just hit it that quick. That's what that's saying right there. That picture saying, like, look, if Chris Brown whispered in there, "Hey baby, come with me," oh, she would be gone in a heartbeat.
So like why? I mean, I just feel like men really be thinking women are weak like that, but y'all be cheating like a motherfucker. But yet,
whoa.
Yeah.
What does it have to do with this picture?
Exactly, because she took a picture with him. If he whispered in the ear, she's going to automatically want to smash.
Listen, Chris, yes. Are you champagne? If she paid to see Chris Brown and he all up on her like that, you don't think he can hit that? Keep it real.
It could vary. Like I've been in some precarious situations.
It.
I have been in some
Stop it.
precarious situations. I am not
Chris
unique.
Brown, he could easily hit that. All he had to do was just bring her with him, and she'll go. Look at that. She don't know him personally. He could take her back and hit that immediately. Trust me. Come on now.
So if a man were to meet a woman of like that, he is automatically he probably gonna smash. I should assume that. If he was in the same situation as her, he meets a female superstar who's like someone he really admired, is a good chance that he'll smash her if she says, "Come on, let's go." That's what we're saying.
He's hugging her from the back. Hey, come on.
I get what you're saying.
This ain't no grandma hug here. He all up on the waist. Look, that's a picture that couples should take right there. She loved Chris Brown. She loved him more than her boyfriend.
No.
Yes,
she does. I mean, she does what she does. Yeah, the thing that sealed the deal for her was what she said. Like if she just had the picture by herself, I could argue that down in a court of law. But when she says that I will trade my boyfriend for a meet and greet with Chris Brown's 100 more times, like damn girl, I can't. Like you're not supposed to say it. Like you could think it.
Come on, she ain't gotta say it. If you take a picture, y'all could just both be sitting there, next to each other, like, hey, But all this, he all up on it and stuff. She's a nice looking girl. He might have hit that. He might have hit that.
He did not. This is not. My girlfriend did one of these meet and greet with little baby. Like it's just you literally just go in there. There's a room of people. You go in there. You sit there. You take the picture. He give you 1, 2, 3. Give you different poses, and then you out. It's just like a money grab. That's all it really is. It's purely money. Like he even have dudes up in there taking pictures. It's purely money.
Be hugging a dude like that?
No, wait. Was he hugging a dude? No, I don't think he was hugging him like that. Well, because that's gay. He's not going to do anything gay.
But I'm saying it doesn't matter if it's gay or not. It's sexual. That's why you can't do it with a guy. If you can't take the same type of picture with another guy, then it's more sexual and personal. That's
Jason Momoa has taken pictures with this other guys.
Who has?
Jason Momoa.
What? You talking about Aquaman?
Yeah, Aquaman is hot. Yes.
Oh, that don't mean he's not gay.
That exact. What? Yeah, that doesn't mean that he is gay just because he took a picture like that.
If you take a picture like that with a guy, that's a sexual provocative pose, man. That's gay.
For you, it is. No, I
am so shocked at you.
Like it's not sexually provocative. It's not.
You can't hug no guy like that, cupping him like that. He's spooning it.
Oh my God. Man, you are running away with this. You are like running away with this.
Are there no? I mean, come on. There's got to be something that separates. If you know what I'm saying, like some sexual provocative and it's a regular pose. This is he's spooning her. That's sexual.
Oh my God. Nah, I won't say it's sexual. Provocative. We're starting a conversation is provocative, but that's how famous people take pictures with chicks all the time. And it's Chris Brown. It's Chris Brown. Okay. Maybe her man should be Chris Brown.
Okay. Well, like I said, if you show me Chris Brown hugging another dude like that, I'll agree with you. Until then, I agree to disagree.
Okay. All right. What's your next news? What's your next news? Was that it?
Okay. Nah, that was it for today. That's all we got. That threw me for a minute right there. So.
And he's been taking over. Like that has really been a conversation for. He took another picture with another girl, and that one was pretty provocative. But I'll send that to you off schedule. But speaking of provocative opinions and thoughts, let's get into today's topic.
Okay, finally into today's topic. All right.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Now, remember, in this day and age where marriage, and there's so many broken families out there, and a lot of children born out of wedlock, there's a high probability that either male or female that you're going to date somebody that has children, even if you have children or not. And this is just reality. So in doing that, there are certain things that are good and certain things that are bad about dating people that have children. So we're gonna go over some of the positive things first about dating people with children, and then we'll get to the negative things later. Okay. So when you first date someone, especially as a guy dating a woman, I think it's a little different when it's vice versa. But when you first date when you date a woman with children, you have to understand that this is a package deal. The children will almost always come first, especially if they're underage. If they're, you know what I'm saying, they will always come first. There will always be her first love to a responsible mother. So you might be able to get close to that, but you're not going to never mean more to her than her children are when they're younger, especially. So they're a package deal. And some of the things that you have to do, that you have to embrace is that, sometimes it could be good because some women, may have children that you don't have. I'm gonna just tell you, like with myself, like I have 3 girls and I have a boy, right? And my only son, he's autistic, right? And by him being autistic, I couldn't participate in a lot of the son-father things, that my dad did with me. Like I can't really talk to him about and give him theories about life and impute, different things that I've learned over the years because, I can't really have a solid conversation with my son that he will understand. So I've always used my nephews per se, like to do the sports things with, right? So, and when I had just like right now that I'm married, I have my wife has an only child who's actually a son and he's an athlete. So that type of thing right there is like, that kind of makes up for a void that I have with my own son because now, he's a highly motivated guy. I can kind of live through him and we go see his sporting events and things like that. And that's a positive thing, because I never got to, because I had my nephews in them boxing, but they was terrible football. They were sorry at football. All right. I'm just getting real. You know what I'm saying? But he's really good at football. And I was good at football when I was younger. So, you know what I'm saying? Like that's a good thing, and then he's at that age to where he's budding, like he's grown, he's out, facing responsibilities. So there are things that I can teach him that I could not teach my son because he's facing the world as a young black man. And these are things that he has to face and he has to overcome. And since I've already been out here and I've been through all the trials and tribulations of life as a black man, and I've overcome and I've won, to a certain degree. And of course, I take L's along the way, but I'm doing pretty good with myself. You understand? So there are certain things that I can impute in him, that I can't not do with my actual son himself. So that's a positive thing about having kids. You know what I'm saying? And you could do things, you have fun, with the other kids, like, you can go to amusement parks, kick it, whatever, just, if you like kids, then, that's always a positive when someone else has kids, if you are a person that likes kids.
Okay.
So from a girl's perspective, how do you feel about dating a man with children?
Well, Chuck, I'm glad you asked. As a person who has dated, when I was younger, I'd have to say this, I dated, most of the guys I met had kids. Like very few guys I would meet didn't have kids when I was growing up. It was like every guy I met had a kid, at least one. So, but I also had found that the few guys who didn't have kids, they were like a bit more irresponsible. Like they were kind of more arrogant. They didn't seem grounded. It was just like they didn't have much going for themselves, and the guy with kids, they didn't have a lot going for themselves, but I think they were more attentive. And, as I look back, they were probably like, she a sucker, let me use her type of situation. But but at the time, like they were more attentive, they had more time. And I love kids. Like I loved kids at the time. I've always loved kids. Now that I'm older, I'm kind of cool on them. But when I was younger, I loved kids. And I think that was a symptom of my own trauma growing up. And because my biological dad wasn't there, I always loved men who were active in their children's life. Like that was something that was more attractive to me. But the pros of it, of dating a man with kids, was that I feel like if he's a good dad, right? So one of the things is I couldn't date a man who like never really had his kids or didn't talk about his kids. Like if you had kids and you never said anything about having kids, You never made any conversation about going to get your kids. You never were worried about buying your kids nothing. It wasn't for me because I was like, oh, so you a shitty dad. Like, I can't support that. But these are guys who actually kids were with them. They had their kids a good amount of time. Either they had them every weekend or they had them often. Another thing about the guys I dated without kids was that their baby moms were like not trying to let them see the kids. So they'd be more, they would hold them, especially when they found out they were dating somebody or there was another woman, they would act all strange. And it's kind of like, I like that vulnerability of the dudes because they would confide in you and they would share that. And it was just like, oh my gosh, let me help you. Let me heal you. So that was the pros of having children. Now, the cons of having kids is like, you are just these are guys who didn't mind shifting some of the responsibility onto you. Right. So it had got to the point when I was with a guy and I was living with him, his kids would come to me like, what are we having for dinner? And I'm like, nigga, your dad is right downstairs. You need to redirect that to your actual dad. I'm just some chick who sleeps with your dad, right?
Whoa.
That's what I'm thinking in my. Yeah, they would like, because I would cook. I would do the majority of the cooking. Like, I stepped fully into that role of wanting to be a stepmom. Okay. And I think that those are the type of dudes who are heads of the household, men are the heads of the household. I'm a leader, and they look for a woman and she's like shouldering that responsibility of mom, not like, oh, let me get it. It was like, oh, okay, yeah, she got it. She's going to take care of this. She's going to help out with this. She's going to help buy these groceries. And like, I can't super blame them, Chuck, because I allowed it to happen. But I was young. I wanted them to love me as much as I loved them because I understood that it was a package deal. I had saw what my stepdad did and my mom. I had saw that. Like, it just made sense to me. But as I got older, as a person without kids, you find that one, sometimes those kids aren't really appreciative of all that you do because you're not their real parent. Even if their parent is jacked up, most children, and I can attest, they still miss that relationship with their biological parent. So that was something that I came across. Another thing that I came across was that, again, those are not your children. So you're limited to what type of discipline or what type of feedback that you can give without you stepping on someone's toes, being the father or the mothers. You're kind of stuck. Like, some people will just ride for their kids no matter what. And you're kind of like, that's not how I would raise it and raise my kids if I had some. And they look at you like, oh, well, you don't have kids, so you can't talk about how to raise them. So you have that scenario going on. You have the scenario where, your finances is now going towards the kids. The kids are always first. And I bring that up because when I was younger, my best friend's mother, she used to be like, never date a man with kids. Like, you'll never be first. Never date a man with kids. And like, I was like, oh, that's just ridiculous. But like, now that I'm older, I get it now, because a man with children, a woman with children, their children should be their priority. Unless you're married, those children will be the priority. And you won't be first. Like, if that child needs to go to whatever, and you guys have a vacation plan, that child's needs are probably going to supersede your own, especially if the mother isn't really active. So I dated guys who, and maybe that's where I probably fucked up. I should have dated like dudes who were just weekend dads. I dated guys who were actually active. But I also will say the pro is another con is that if you guys break up, the relationship with those children, like, y'all, there's no reason for you really to be in those children's lives if you didn't create a strong enough bond, because those are not your biological children. Those are his children, somebody else's children. So if he doesn't want to mess with you, they're not going to see you no more. So you're kind of breaking up more than once, because you're breaking up with the person that you're with and you're breaking up with their children. But yeah,
it's a package deal.
It's a package deal. Yeah. But Hassani, he says, I want my own kids. I would date a woman with kids if she wanted more kids. If they honestly wanted more kids, if we worked out. So, and I agree. That's another thing. You meet people with kids, they don't want to have any more kids. Be it that they had a situation that was bad, or they just had enough. They got 3 kids. What the fuck they need more kids for, So it's, for me, even at this older age of me not having kids and that there's more men that have kids, I still shy away greatly from dating men with children right now. Like they have to be grown or about to be out the house for me to be like, yeah, because it's just a lot. I remember looking back and it's just the only enjoyable thing is I did get a girl. I call her my stepdaughter, and she loves me. She loves me. She'll call me just like she never calls me to really ask for stuff. She just calls to talk. She loves hanging out with me. Like that's my little buddy, you know. She acts like me because I've been around her life so much. So every now and then you get some good stuff out of it. But for me, it just wasn't the best of situations. End rant.
Okay. Well, that's good stuff. I appreciate it. Like I said, we coming from both perspectives. And then, like I said, back to my perspective as a man, when, the same things that can make a relationship can also break a relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, since it is a package deal, the women that I've dated that have had kids, once I stopped talking to her, then I didn't stop talking to the kids because, they're not related to you. You're not their real father biologically. So things like that can change according to the situation. So it was almost like, if it's not going to be an investment to where it's going to be long term, then it's not even worth it. You know what I'm saying? Like, why even try to get close to the kids if y'all ain't going to be together long term? Because it's just going to end up being to where you ain't going to, it's all based on your relationship with the mom. You know what I'm saying? And some dudes is so much of like, some dudes do that with their own kids. If they break up with the mama, they'll break up with the kids too, and they their biological kids. Like, who does that? Man, this dude, bro, I'm telling you, it's so much fuckery going on out here, man. Like, it's crazy. I can't believe people act like they're gonna steal your kids. If you made your kids, it don't matter what your relationship is with your baby mama. You should always love your kids. That's part of you. Okay. So, and let's go back to the subject. Also, like it can be, like I told you, same things that can make the relationship can break it. Like I said, if you both have the same family values, things can go a lot smoother because you have the same ideology about child rearing. You know what I'm saying? But if your values are different, then it's going to be a big problem. Because for me personally, I believe on punishment. If you do something, then you are to be held accountable.
Absolutely.
Now, if you're with somebody that their kids can do all the things wrong that they and they still get a good Christmas and they still get you're rewarding bad behavior, then we're gonna have a problem. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, that's the way I was raised. You know what I'm saying? Like if I did good, then I would get good. And if I did bad, I would get bad back. That's just karma. Because once your kids turn 18 and they out here in the real world, then that's how life is going to treat you. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to be able to talk your way out of certain things if you do things wrong, with the cops and things like that, or on the job. You're going to be held accountable for your actions. And it should be a microcosm in the household to how you raise your kids, because that's how the world is. You know what I'm saying? And it's all out of love. It's not out of trying to, hate on their stuff or whatever, but that's just life. You know what I'm saying? You got to know how to pay your bills, you know what I'm saying? And how to run your, you know what I'm saying? This is all stuff that's important, man. You know what I'm saying? And so like, I just see like a lot of times, if the dad's not around, the mom normally overcompensates by giving the kids extra things because their dad's not there, because she kind of feels bad that maybe she made a bad decision with the father and she needs to give them more things like that. And that ain't doing nothing but spoiling the kids straight up, because they haven't earned it. They've done nothing to earn it. That this was a situation that you're born in, and then, you just have to live with it. I mean, that's life. You know what I'm saying? So, those are some of the things. And also just saying that too, when you dating women with kids or vice versa, you're dealing with the baby mama or the baby's dad. So what kind of relationship is that? You know what I'm saying? Are they hating on you? Like, what? I mean, are they still trying to get back with them? Like, I mean, that's a situation you got to deal with. You know what I'm saying? The dad is coming through and whatnot, so you really don't know. So that's a real important conversation. You know what I'm saying? That you got to have. And plus, and also things, like I said, I'm going to keep on talking. The kids might not like you. You know what I'm saying? Your package deal, they might be like, I don't like, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes some women or men might base your relationship on if the kids are accepting to you. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, like, look, man, again, my motto, I use the acronym FTK. You know what I'm saying? You know, fuck the kids. Look, you're too young to decide on my making grown decisions. So I don't never let a kid have any bearing on any decisions making that I make in the household. No, like you're not old enough to make this decision. You might be doing it based on your feelings and things like that. But as a grown person, we cannot let our kids dictate to us. And that's what I see all the time. These young kids being grown folks' business, too much. They be knowing about the bills and everything. Like, no, go outside and play. Let me take care of this in here. You just be a child. Don't be in this grown folk stuff. You know what I'm saying? I'll let you know what you need to know. You know what I'm saying? And that's the problem. We trying to be brothers, friends with our kids, and we need to be parents, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I say, like, I could never get with somebody that, that just babies their kids too much. And, and then because if there's no accountability, I can't watch them. You know what I'm saying? Because if I can't discipline them, like, look, hey, stop, then I can't watch them. You know what I'm saying? Because they just going to do what they're going to do and all that. And and there's no order in your household whatsoever.
Yeah. No one likes badass kids,
Right. And I know people that, like I said, when we having a family dinner, man, like, and this is a family member. She talking about my kids eat first. Like, what? No. Unless they are a baby or infant, they ain't part none of this food. So they get the elderly the food first, and then you work down to the kids. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we hope for. Like back in the day, listen, if you married with kids, y'all have kids together, and really it should be the two parents. You come together first. The kids are following your lead. You know what I'm saying? And when they get older and they start talking stuff and all that, then they gotta go. You know what I'm saying? Once you start acting like you grown and then all this and stuff like that, no, then listen, you got consequences. That's all I'm saying. But I think a lot of times, since there's a lot of times that kids, that their parents aren't there. I mean, both parents. So the mom will allow them to stay in the household as long as they can because they don't want to be alone. You know what I'm saying? The kids are their, the only thing they have to a relationship. So they hold on to that. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I say things are just really out of order. And, we need to get that together, man.
True. But on the flip side of that, just to take it to another point is, you also want to listen to what those persons are saying. Like, I'm not saying your kids should run your relationships, but I think it's important to talk to your kids because kids, I think because kids are more emotional, they're able to pick up on things that adults can't pick up on because we're more logical as we get older. That logic should be kicking in, but we do overlook certain things because we always try to explain it away. And there's guys out here who are like predators, and they will sit here and they will prey on single mothers who have children, and they will be the perfect dude, and they're sitting here doing crazy things to your children, or men or women who put those new boyfriends or girlfriends over their children for the sake of, I just want to have somebody. So it's very important that you gotta learn that muscle. There was one woman, and I'm so sad that this happened to her, but also it's like you have to take responsibility as an adult and to say, hey, I gotta protect my kids. But she dated a dude and he didn't like her older kid. He didn't like her older kid. He wished that she didn't have that older kid, but she stayed with him. She had a kid with him, and he ended up like he was abusive and ended up killing her towards the end. So I think
her dude killed her.
The dude, he killed her. But it was a sign. It was a sign. There's a lot of women out here who they do feel embarrassed that they got pregnant, they became a baby mom, so now they're like, I gotta find a daddy to help me out because it's hard being a single parent. Be it man or woman. I know there's men out here like, oh, I would never get child support for my baby mom. Bullshit. You start raising these kids out here, it is expensive to raise a child. Whether you are a male or female, you deserve money from that absent parent, okay? But they'll sit here and they'll feel bad about themselves. They'll feel like convicted. I had this kid, his dad wasn't nothing. I need to find him a dad. And they just take these dudes and they don't see the signs that this guy is a predator. So it's very important that as a woman, you know, some women, if you cannot pick a really good mate, if you're not good at picking men, maybe you, and this is going to be people are going to hate me for this, but maybe you shouldn't date for a while. You shouldn't date until your kids are at the age where they could fully express to you what's happening. When I was younger, before my mom got with my stepdad, she had boyfriends. I didn't know they were boyfriends, but I wasn't hanging around them. They weren't in the house. They didn't live in the house. It was just kind of like you saw them in passing, like, oh, this is my friend. And then years later, it was like, that was your boyfriend? You had a boyfriend? Wow, you think you know a player, you know? So it's a nuanced thing. And another thing you brought up that I wanted to put out there was that it is important that you are on the same page of discipline. To instance, I have a friend. He's a guy. He doesn't date single moms, and you know it might come off rude, but his whole thing is you have too many single moms who want to fight you too much on how to raise the child. Or then you have a dude who's just like, ain't no man raising my kid, ain't no nigga raising my kid, but he's like never there. You know, he's only there like the Russell Wilson in the Future situation. When Russell posts something up there, then it's like, oh, Future is his dad, but he's there pulling time like more than a biological dad. So I have a friend who won't date women because of that. He has to be able to discipline that child without the mom intervening. And most moms are not going to do that because that's a lot of trust to give to someone. And I know how it could be hard as a single mom, especially if you play that role for so long. But if you're not on the same page for disciplining, it's going to cause additional arguments. You're already going to have arguments by yourself, but that's going to cause additional arguments between you and your significant other, because not only are you arguing about bills, but now you got to argue about how to raise a child that's not yours. And every now and then they might hit you with that ain't your son anyway. And you're like, oh, this bitch, you know?
Please. I wish I would tell me that.
Ain't your son anyway. Like, man.
I heard that.
It's hard. I dated a guy and I don't necessarily believe in you need to spank your children off rip. I think sometimes
discipline ain't more just spanking.
Exactly.
You're paying for what you did. Now, okay, since you messing up like this, then you ain't gonna be on that video game.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Just stuff like that. People don't even want to do that. Not only are they not working, they don't punish them for doing anything.
No,
you know what I'm saying? So the kids are just out here, they know that they ain't gonna get in trouble, so they're gonna keep doing it.
Yeah,
so that's why I have a hard line on that. And I even with certain people, my family, I tried to install discipline. Just tell them what they needed to do, and they just didn't listen, man. And like I said. And that's the thing too. Like if you're a single mother and you don't understand, like, especially when you're raising a son, you should consult with a responsible man that even if it's not your man, you can consult with a man that is responsible and respectable man that you would kind of like your son to be like, and ask him, well, what should happen if you do this? You know what I'm saying? It just to get his opinion and just see what he says. You know what I'm saying? And I guarantee you, he will make the child be accountable. Because that's life. It's not going to hurt them. You're hurting them by, pacifying them and rewarding bad behavior. Because life is not going to be like that.
Exactly. That was what I was trying to explain to the guy I was dating. He, like, his daughter was 5, and she took a poop, and like she took a poop. She was pooping. Now at 5, but she was in school at this time. Yeah, in the bathroom.
Okay.
She took a poop, and then she called him like, come wipe my butt. And I was like, right. I was like, but she's at school at this time. She's a smart young girl. Like, she's not deficient in any way. She's smart. She's handling herself. And then I'm like, at school, does her teachers wipe her butt when she take a poop? And no, they don't. So I was like, so why is she asking? Like, that's something that she can handle on his own. And he was just like, well, she just sometimes, it's like, no, she does it because she knows she can get away with it. Kids are smart. I remember thinking things like, oh, if I do this. I remember one time I wrote, when I was at school, I was being cheeky, and I wrote a cuss word on a board. I wrote ass on the board. And then,
What?
yeah, I wrote ass. I was like 5 or 6. I feel like I was 6. It was first grade. 6 or 7. So I wrote ass on the board, trying to be cheeky. And then I hurry up and erased it and put something else. And this kid went and snitched on me. And he was like the baddest kid in the room. Like, what are you doing? Why are you snitching on people? You're the baddest kid. I'm just misguided. You're bad. So he goes to tell the teacher. And so I'm coming home and I'm like, shit, I'm about to be in trouble. All right, Champagne. So what's the worst that can happen? Like, I don't think mommy's going to whoop me for this, but I know if I say I got this from TV, she's going to take away. She's going to say, you can't watch TV, right? Mm-hmm. But I was like, but you know who does curse a lot? My grandma. My grandma cussed. Like, she wasn't a horrible cusser, but she cussed. It was a known fact that she cussed. I was like, she's not going to stop me from seeing my grandma. And you know what? When my mom asked me where I got it from, I got it from my grandma. And it was so believable because it's logical. That kid, that just shows you how devious thinkers, children, and mind you, I was 6, 7 at the time. Children can be very devious. Children begin to understand how things work when you're at one parent's house versus another parent's house. And some parents refuse to see it. And that's just, that would make it harder for me to date. So even though at this, where I stand with dating people with children, it is a hard no for me. I know a lot of people feel there's a statistic that says, I think over like 56% of men have children in the United States.
So that's a lot that doesn't.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Right. Exactly. Now you do got to get into the nuances of like the age range, but even still, if you look at the age range, it's still a lot that do not have them. And on top of that, it's not like they can't have any kids because again, when you have kids, your pockets are normally strapped because you got to worry about school. They need clothes if they're in sports, trap. Like kids, if you are a good parent, kids need a lot. And my best friend, she never dated men with kids, and people will make her feel like, well, not make her feel because she ain't give a fuck, but they will be like, oh, you think you too good. But her thing was this. She's going to want a lot of your time. And if you're a man with children and you're giving her a lot of time, then the question is going to be, why are you not with your children? Like, why are you always here with me? You never have your children. You never talk about your children. You never go, like, you're not here with me. So that's not a good thing. But you're putting me first. And then 2, if they do the right thing and they always put their kids first, then eventually you are going to feel a certain type of way about never being first. So her thing was, I'm going to go ahead and just eliminate all that right there and just say, I don't date men with children. But that was also, in our younger years. Now, if your kids are 16 or up, 17 up, they got to be out of that terrible teens phase because that's a shitty phase to be in too. I was there through the raising teens thing. And did you have issues with teenage years with your children at all?
With teenage, they rebel because see, the thing is, children always assess your life. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes they will try to judge you on that. But they haven't walked a mile in your shoes. But Correct. They will a lot of times judge the parents and say, well, why didn't you do this? You could have just did. No, well, things happen. This is life. Things happen, man. And until you go through them yourself, you will never understand why this couldn't have happened or why this happened. You know what I'm saying? And there's like such a big difference from dating people with children and people without children.
Yeah.
But it could be good or bad too on that. Like I said, I've had, somebody like that, she didn't have any children. And I've dated several people with children. But the ones that did not have children were more possessive. You know what I'm saying? Like they wanted to spend like all their time with you. You know what I'm saying? And, and they didn't have nothing. They didn't have anything else that ground like to spread, to focus their attention on. So it was all on me. You know what I'm saying? And I had things to do, man. Like, look, you can roll with me. So let's go. But, but that's just, whatever. But so, those are things that, like I said, people without children have, because a lot of times, like I said, I think that, a lot of women, there are a lot of women that don't have children, but I think, just having that nurturing nature, you need someone to nurture. Like there's no bigger powerful love than it is from a parent to a child. Like I really believe that. Like that's a very powerful connection that, especially with a mom, you know what I'm saying? Because this thing has grown inside you. So that's a powerful thing, you know what I'm saying? To see this thing that's so fragile in the beginning, and then you raise it, you know what I'm saying? So I can understand it, but again, you know, you're just hurting your children in their development if you just continue to baby them. You got to cut that umbilical cord, man. Get them off the titty, man. You know what I'm saying? And let them grow, you know, because, you know, that's just life. I mean, they got to go out and make their own way eventually, you know what I'm saying? Because if not, you won't grow. You know, like I said, comfort does not permit growth. You have to be a little bit uncomfortable for you to get ahead in life, and you have to take chances sometimes. You have to do different things. And these are the types of things that you need, like I said, you know, when you're you know, when you have children, you have to let them go out and fly. You got to let them leave the nest. You know what I'm saying? They'll never be the great person. They'll never be the great individual that they were meant to be. So they got to leave at some point. But yeah, it's really tricky when you're dating, you know, people with children, because there's so many things going on. And like I said, by me being older, you know, most of the women that I've, you know, dated, you know, not, you know, before my marriage, you know what I'm saying, their children were teenagers or above. And in my current situation, like I said, well, my wife, I mean, you know, her son is in his mid-20s. So, you know, it's like she's by her. It's like I get the best of both worlds, because she's still grounded with her, you know, when she had her son. And I've seen the type of man that he was when I met her. Like, she raised a fine young man, and she was disciplined, and, you know what I'm saying, she didn't take no BS, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, she raised him by herself, but she still was hard line, you know what I'm saying, like, about, you know, him being responsible with things. Like I said, there's some, of course, little things there or whatever, of course, you know, that she doesn't understand as being a woman, but she did a fine job, you know what I'm saying? And that really resonated really deep with me, because he was very mannerable, very respectful, and I respected that, you know what I'm saying? He was his own man, you know what I'm saying? So those are things, you know what I'm saying, that you got to look at too. Like, because like I told you, if you in a place to where you got kids that are disrespectful, they really, you know what I'm saying, they don't have no type of discipline, and, you know, they don't respect, you know, they don't respect their elder, then, you know, this is not going to be a happy space for you, because the children are going to be running the house. Yeah. And that's not what you want at all. Like I said, FTK.
I was in a situation where, like, the respect wasn't really there. And I also think the dad kind of, I think there was times that he did stood up and put his hands out, but I don't think he understood the gravity of the situation with his son. I feel like his son was a little bit of a, I don't want to say sociopath, but, you know, I kind of feel like it. I kind of feel like, and I feel like I feel like the way that he felt towards women, it was getting bad, but because I think his dad saw more like, well, you know, I'm not his mom, so he's not going to really, like, put his foot down. And I think that's very important, because when you're with someone, and let's say as a person, you date somebody with kids and their kids jacked up, or they disrespect you in some type of way, you want someone to have your back. So I want to say sometimes he was on it, and, you know, sometimes it wasn't. So I don't know. It was a weird situation. But also where you're at in life, Christina says that she doesn't want to her days of raising other people's kids are over with. So, you know, if you get to a point, if you get to a point of, like, you're in your late 40s, your early 50s, because I've met, where I work at, I meet a lot of dudes who are in their 50s, mid 50s, or 60s, talking about they got a 10-year-old, you know? So if you're a woman at the same age, you probably
I got 11-year-old.
Yeah, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, you know, it's like there's some women who are just like, nah, I've already raised them. I did that. And, you know, they're cool on it. So it depends on where you're at. And I also think it depends on the type of situation you're in, because you have an 11-year-old, but it's not like your 11-year-old stays with you 24/7, right?
Right. That's
true. So
but there's it's still some issues, you know, and drama with certain things.
Mom, you know.
So, you know, that, you know, those are things. But again, hey, I just have to take the accountability. I'm the one that made it, so I got to deal with whatever comes with it, and that's life. You know what I'm saying? I wish things, you know, could be a lot better, you know, but that's just how things go. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I say, you know, you gotta teach this in these kids, because that's just how things go in life, man. You know, and you got to be accountable for your actions.
The way it goes. Yeah.
That's right.
Good show, man.
Yes. But yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in. You got any final thoughts or anything about today's show, Champagne?
I will say, if you are a woman without children and you want to date someone with children, take your time before you fall into marriage, because that is a lot of responsibility on your part, and make sure that you have someone who's a partner versus someone who's trying to transfer responsibility to you. So I think that's important.
Right. Good job. And like I said, hey y'all, it's like I said, it's rough out here, man. Just because somebody has kids doesn't mean that they're not for you. Just like I said, just the situation, and see how she's raising her kids. And if you guys are like-minded, and you could do the thing, and you see something long-term, then it's something that's worth investing. If not, I wouldn't do it. I'm just telling you right now, because ain't none of the females that I talked to that had kids that I was cool with them and did things with them. I don't hear nothing from them. So
yeah.
Hey, if the kids, if you don't see that long-term, get up out of there. I'm telling you. But if not, things can work. But anyway, thank y'all for watching the show. We'll be back next week, same place, same time. We appreciate y'all tuning in. Go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. We appreciate it. All right. So y'all take care. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all's day and week. Peace.
Bye.